sideways videos. I can't do them vertically. It doesn't work for me. So hang on, bear with me for a second while we wait for some people to join. You need some clothes on, kid. You can't be in my video with no clothes on. We're hanging out at my parents'. It is Labor Day weekend. I was gonna do this outside, but it's kind of windy, and I was afraid that would be a problem. So we're gonna do it inside here and get everything set up. There's lots of kids around, other people that may be in and out. Can everybody see me, hear me? Is it working? We good? We'll have to let a few people get here. We got one person watching. Great. That's what happens when it's sideways and you screw everything up. Yes. Okay. Good. Good, good, good. Better. Excellent. What's up? Want to say hi?
Hi.
What do you think? You like it? Okay. Good deal. Take two. Yep, we're on. We're good.
What?
Nothing. Just seeing what's going on. Well, what do you guys want to know? How's it going? Today, it's going all right. Sort of a slow day. We had our annual sweet corn freezing day this morning, and I didn't even have to do much. It was pretty well done by the time I got here, so, well, that's good. I think we did 93 quart bags of sweet corn, which probably were actually like 2 cups, pint in each, but yeah, 93 bags. You gonna be on here or what? You just gonna stand off to the side? My nephew. Anyway, so we got that done this morning, and everybody's just kind of hanging out here this afternoon. We had a little party, family gathering yesterday for my mom's birthday and Labor Day weekend, and so did all of that stuff yesterday. It is breezy today and hot, and so you know, we're not terribly dry right here. You go west of us and they are, you go east of us and it's even wetter, but I wouldn't turn some rain down if we would get some. It looks like maybe Wednesday there's a chance of rain. We'll probably need it by Wednesday. So somebody's leaving or pulling their car around. All right, where are we at? Do you tissue sample? We have done a little bit of tissue sampling in the past, but no, not really. I haven't done a lot of that. Hi. Can you say hi? You got your cheese and crackers? Don't shake the table. Can you tell them hi? They were playing in the water, so they're all soaking wet. Have you got a strip toe rig lined up yet? No, I've worked on one. Couple, but there just aren't very many around here. None of the dealers have them, and so it's not easy to get my hands on one. There's one that's about probably 40 or 50 miles northwest of us here. It's a pretty nice one. It's a 16-row 3-point though, and I don't know that I can pull a 16-row 3-point with our 8RX, and our 9R doesn't have a 3-point on it, so that's no good. But it's a used one with 500 acres on it, sitting on a dealer lot that they haven't acted real thrilled about renting it to me. So I have not had any luck there, and I have tried. Any happy raccoons in the sweet corn? We had a few raccoons, but not really that bad, and we never put up a fence and never got them as bad as we have in the past, and I don't know why exactly. We had pretty good sweet corn without having an actual fence, which has been nice. How do you prevent or treat white mold? Right, so white mold in soybeans. This is a really hard one to treat, to prevent, to do anything about, and it's probably one of the bigger diseases that we have. We fight white mold far worse than we do SDS around here. Oh, sorry sis, here's your crackers. And so that one's kind of a challenge. So the one thing that I have done, and I think is at least somewhat effective, back up here, has been using the heads up seed treatment on my soybeans. I used that on almost all of our beans this year. The one place that I did not use it was in my bean plot, where I had pre-treated beans and I did not run them through my treater. And guess what? The white mold severity is far worse in that field than it is anywhere else. I'm not saying we don't have it anywhere else, because we do, but it's not real bad. And so I do think that heads up works. It is not 100% control, but it is effective. And there are some fungicides you can spray. The problem is the timing and the cost of those is really difficult, because The white mold is actually infecting the plants when they start to flower, and so it's happening at like the end of June, early July, where we don't usually spray fungicides until late July, early August, and so you got another pass in there that is cost prohibitive unless you know you're going to have white mold. And your shoe fall off, and it can be so hit and miss sometimes that we don't plan on that application. So that's the best I can tell you. For us, the heads up has worked pretty well. Maybe I should close that door. Is it too bright right here? Is it throwing off the video? Or, no, that's not better. If I scoot over, that's maybe a little better. Anyway, that's my thoughts on white mold. Thoughts on 24 season. Thoughts of stuff to try. Well, I still got to figure out how my trials are going this year. I'm going to keep playing with some stuff in my starter blends on the corn. We'll bed back to irrigated corn next year, so that'll be good and can hopefully push some stuff there. I am thinking about, this source that we're using. I'm trying this stuff from Pattern Ag, the predictive soil analytics stuff, so we'll see what kind of data we can get off of that this fall and make some plans for next year based on that. But a lot of that's going to depend on how my trials and stuff from this year turn out. Is the source that we're using this year going to pay and work where I need to use it on a lot larger scale next year? Are my Ag Explorer foliar feed trials going to work and pay this year where I need to use those on a lot larger scale? So we'll know more of that stuff later, but that's kind of where I'm at right now with thoughts on stuff to test for next year. Why do you keep taking your shoe off?
Just wanted to say hi.
You can come and say hi.
Hey, sister.
There's Mom.
Hi. Having a
It's-
good hair day.
Yeah, the bright behind us is probably not the best.
Hi, baby.
Yeah, do you see us?
Yeah. All right. I
No,
just came in to say hi.
you know,
Take this.
okay, well, she'll probably want
Stay.
it. Well, whatever.
Are you
You
staying?
gonna put your shoe back on again? I just did this.
I did it too.
Hi, Mason.
You gonna say hi? Come here. Come on. Come and sit on my lap.
That's all right. I know you've done a video on this before. I'm sorry I can't seem to find it, but could you do a video on how you do your yield checks on corn? I'm trying to show our guys how to do it. Thanks. Just go watch the last one. Anna and I did it in the last one there. I can give you a real simple formula though. Count the plants in 17 feet 5 inches, assuming you're on 30-inch rows, 1/1000th of an acre. Count how many harvestable ears you have. Pick 3 ears or 5 ears. Find the average number of kernels per ear. So you need rows of kernels times the number of kernels per row. Divide that number, multiply all those three things together, divide that number by 90,000 or 90 for kernels per bushel. That'll get you close. Divided by 80, that might get you closer depending on how big your kernels are. But yeah, go watch the last video that I posted. Anna and I did some of that. Hello Nathan, I hope your day is going better than mine. I'm currently fixing broken sewage line in my basement. Yep, my day is better than yours, no doubt. What's your corn herbicide program? Is Acuron enough, or do you do a post-emergence pass as well? Right. So this past year we were really dry right after planting, and so a lot of the herbicides, residuals, did not get rain on them to activate them, and had some major problems. One of the good things about us planting early was we got our herbicides on early, and they got some rain and activated. So we are one pass pre-emerge with Acuron. I believe it's a 2.5 pint rate. I'd have to look at that up just to be sure. But we are also adding a quart of atrazine, liquid atrazine, spiking that Acuron with that for better grass control. So for the most part, that has worked really well. Dad did go around the outside of a lot of the fields with the ATV or with the sprayer and clean up that outside pass to get some of that grass and stuff. So most of it, just single pass of Acuron. I can see the day coming when that's not going to be good enough, and we're going to have to go to a 2-pass system. And the more I am doing V5 fungicide, the less a 2-pass program is a problem, because I'm making a pass with a sprayer anyway. But we're trying to avoid that as much as we can. So we pay a little bit of a premium, I think, for Acuron over some other programs, 2-pass programs that you could do a little bit cheaper. But it is premium weed control. It works really, really well. We've had really good luck with it. And weed control is very important, especially in corn and in soybeans, where, well, corn, it's easier to control the weeds than it is in soybeans, and especially in wheat. But if you don't do a good job with your corn, you're going to really struggle in your beans the following year. So we've made sure to be pretty proactive with that. Give us news on getting that new Hagie and John Deere 9RX. All right, you want some news? I'll give you some news. There is no 9RX coming anytime soon. On the Hagie fronts, so the day I got back from my cruise, that Golden Harvest trip, came down here and started talking to Dad, and Dad says to me, did I show you this trailer that we bought? I'm pretty sure I showed you this trailer, but he bought a dump trailer, and he got it from the local Ag Pro dealer now that's in Berkey, near our Berkey farms. And so he stopped in there to get some information on this trailer and stuff while I was gone on the cruise. And the guy there tried to sell him a little 1R lawn garden tractor, lawnmower type thing to haul in it, because that's what they have these dump trailers for people to haul their lawnmowers and stuff around in. And he's like, nah, we're more in the ag equipment market than the small utility tractor market kind of thing and stuff. And long story short, they got to talking, and they had a Hagie for sale at one of their other locations here in Ohio, and we were sort of interested in it. And so I get back, and Dad says, oh, by the way, this salesman's coming out Monday morning to look at our sprayer to get a trade-in value on it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So trying to figure out what the deal is with that. They came out and looked at stuff, met with them, and whatever, it was fine. By Thursday or Friday of that week, we had not heard anything, and I think they finally called on Friday and said that that sprayer got sold, and never even gave us a trade value on the one that they looked at of ours or anything. We never got around to even going down to look at it. So there was potential there. There probably is still, but not with that one. And we're casually looking. We're not actively looking. If something comes available and we find something that we can think is a reasonable deal, we might jump on it. But as of right now, I have no news. But it was close. Door open is fine. Okay, good. Picked up my irrigation pipe, so Irrigate 23 is over. Good for you. I'm excited what my 15J91 2023 XF will do. Recommendations for seed for 24 located in southeast Nebraska. Southeast Nebraska is a long ways from southeast Michigan or northwest Ohio. 15J91 is really good corn. I hear some really good stuff about some of our 113-day, 13D55 maybe. I think it shares a parent with 15J. So maybe that, but your rep will be able to help you much more than I can, and you're in a little fuller season maturity group than I am. The hybrids that I really like, 11V76, 12S75, but those are the full season that I get to. So maybe check those out if you're looking for something there. On the soybean side, we plant all enlist beans. I do have some extend flexes in the plot. The 3442s, which are getting to be 2 or 3 years old now, but those are phenomenal soybeans. Those were the ones that won my soybean contest for me last year at 86 bushels. So that one's good. I really like the 3373 enlist bean. There's a 2.8 extend flex that looks awesome. So we've got some really good beans in our lineup. You can't really go wrong. How far away is harvest for you? We're going to start midweek here in Western Kentucky. It doesn't rain. Wow, midweek. No, we're not there. I would estimate right now about the 20th of September. 3 weeks, a little less than 3 weeks probably. Things will look a lot different by the end of this week because it's 90 degrees today. It's going to be 90 the next couple of days. Chance of rain on Wednesday. But things are going to progress quickly with heat and dry weather, and some of this crop is starting to look awfully stressy. So I bet there'll be some early corn black layer, and by the end of the week, things will start drying down. The beans are turning yellow now. You'll have the John Deere beans where the whole fields are green and yellow, and instead of just hints of yellow like we're seeing now. So it's coming. Wish you would do a comparison with Golden Harvest and Pioneer to see the difference. Yeah, well, here's the thing. probably, what year was it? 2014 maybe? 13? Probably 13. We used to plant a lot of Pioneer. We planted a lot of Pioneer. We were more than half Pioneer when I started selling for Golden Harvest, and just planted a little bit and a little bit more every year because it kept doing all right, and a little bit more and a little bit more. And then in 2013, I think it was, I had 6 side-by-sides, split planter, 16 rows and 16 rows because we were using the 16-row planter. In 5 out of those 6 side-by-sides, the Golden Harvest won, some of them by a substantial amount. The Pioneer cost us $50 a bag more to plant, to buy at that time, and they don't pay me to sell it. I could not justify buying Pioneer anymore. I just couldn't do it, and so we quit. Now that my sister is working with Corteva and Pioneer, she's not local, she's not even she's not direct sales or anything like that, so probably not gonna try any for next year. If she happened to get a job in the semi-local area and wanted to throw some stuff in the plot next spring or the year after, I would entertain that, but that's about as far as it's gonna go, most likely. Hope your birthday was great. Mine? Thanks. Oh, Mom, she was sitting here when you said that. Yeah, sorry, she'll see these comments or I'll tell her, but finally good looking faces. Yeah, thanks, bud. I'm way behind. I didn't realize I was that far behind. What are your thoughts on the digitization in agriculture, and what do you think will come in the future? I mean, the more data that we have, the better, right? It's just a matter of doing something with it. It's just like this pattern ag stuff in their soil test that'll tell me what pathogens I might potentially have. That's great to know. If you're not going to do anything different about it, though, then what's the point? It doesn't matter. Same thing with all this technology and data that we have. If you're not going to do anything with it, what's the point? So, but I do think that the more data we have, the more detailed we get, the more intricate things get, the higher our yield potential is, the better job we can do. Now, it's going to create wide gaps between the people that are using the technology and the people that aren't, and whether or not there's value there and worth it and stuff. It's a whole new area in the ag world and stuff. But coupling things that we're doing with autonomy, with these drone sprayers, with some of the data that we can collect on that stuff, with plant health imagery and being able to target specific areas of fields, and the possibilities in the future are incredible. But we've got a long ways to go to get to where we need to go yet, or to, for that to be viable, I guess. Happy birthday. Hudson Equipment has a 21 Haggy and will have some this fall on trade-in. Well, we'll keep an eye. They do make a 16-inch lift kit for John Deere sprayers. Griggs Farm put one on his. Yes, they do, but I don't think they do for 4930s for ours. They made them for the 47 and 4830s, and I know they make them for the smaller of the big Deeres. Like our John Deere dealer has a 410R with a lift kit, but that's only a 1,000-gallon tank. It's a little bit smaller sprayer than what we have now. So, yes, I am aware, but I don't think you could retrofit it to the sprayer we have. And I do think there would be some big advantages to a front mount boom. Now, the idea has been floated of buying a drone and just keeping what we've got, or a Deere sprayer or something that might be a little more reasonable than a Haggy. It's possible. It is possible. I'm not going to rule that one out. Pretend for a moment that money is no issues. What is one dream improvement you would make on the farm? Equipment, infrastructure, land, etc. I mean, money limits everything. I mean, if money was not an issue and you could do whatever you want, one, we would own all the land that we're farming, and we would farm as much as we want, which we're probably farming as much as we want now, but we would own it instead of renting some of it. We would have new equipment every 2 to 3 years. We'd be trading basically our entire lineup and have new stuff around. I would probably swap my seed business and my shop. I would turn my seed business into our shop and move my seed business down here. Build a new office down there and that kind of stuff. So it's pipe dream stuff. It doesn't matter. What I'd really want to do is insulate the back half of our shop just so we have more room now. Because right now you can bring one thing in and that's it. We don't have room to work on 2 different pieces of equipment, or a combine and a tractor, or barely have room for a combine and the corn head in the shop at the same time. So having more room to do that would be really nice. Hello from Syracuse, New York. How you doing? Doing well. Thanks, Rick. With within trial areas, how does the seed company account for the fertilizer, herbicide, or other inputs that are had? The seed company does not account for anything other than the seed. So all the trial stuff that I do is that's on me. That's for the most part. Occasionally a company will give me, like last year I trialed that source, right? And they gave me that jug of source to try and see if it worked and stuff. And that investment for them paid off because now I'm selling it and I used a bunch of it this year and I am likely going to use a bunch of it next year because it looks like it's going to work really well. Combine has to verify that, but that's what it looks like. So, yeah, for the most part, all the trial stuff that I do is totally on me. What are your yield predictions this year? Man, it is hard to tell. I'm fairly optimistic on corn. We don't have what we had last year. Last year was an anomaly. It was just the incredible year. But it's not gonna be bad. If I had to guess today, I've been saying 190 to 200 average across the board on our corn. I can see how that would be low. I can see how that would be high. It's possible we're in the 180 range. It's possible we're at 205. I don't know. Looking at stuff from the road or just driving by and things, the corn looks really good. You walk out into the fields, some of the stuff is firing up pretty bad. It's rolling a little bit in spots. Other spots doesn't look bad at all. I just don't know. Ears for the most part look pretty good, but it's really hard to tell. So I'm going to stick with that 190 to 200 range on corn and beans. We had August rains. Like we had a lot of rain between the last week of July and through August. We should have really good beans, but we have a lot of disease. We have a lot of white mold. We have a lot of, and I shouldn't say a lot of white mold. We have white mold. We have a lot of Phytophthora. We have some SDS. There's brown stem rot around. I'm going to say 60 bushel beans is possible. Realistically, we're probably 55 to 60 average. But I could be wrong. Could be 65 average. I just don't know. And it's so hard to tell on beans. They are so short in spots. And some of the pods, the one thing that discourages me a little bit looking at the beans, they're potted fairly well, but we have a lot of 2 and 3 bean pods. There's very, very few 4 bean pods. There's a bunch of 1 beaners, especially lower on the plant where they were stressed early when they started flowering. And so I am sure that's going to cut into our yield. But they're not going to be bad. I mean, we don't have 40 bushel beans out there. We might have 40 bushel double crop beans. So I really think we're okay. Thoughts on drone sprayers versus plane versus ground rig? Yeah, obviously, ground rig has its advantage with being able to get with a Hag, you can do stuff. I can get it done a little bit more timely. It's, in my opinion, a more precise application. You're using high volumes for good coverage. I know the planes still get pretty good penetration and coverage, even at 2 gallons per acre. I've heard the drones do really well on that as well, but without really seeing it and testing it, it's a little bit hard for me to verify that. Drones have a huge advantage of being able to do it myself if I had one, and covering fields anytime we want to, and not just when it's dry enough or when I can get somebody to show up. That said, there's a application time commitment to using a drone versus a Haggie or having somebody else spray it. That, what I could have done with a Haggie in 2 days is going to take me at least a week to do with a drone. So trade-offs, there's trade-offs, but I do see the advantage. You guys know we've got these muck fields. They're a mile or 2 down the road here. They're some high organic matter, really soft, mucky soils. We hate taking our big sprayer there, hate it so much that we just don't do it. And so we end up with a lot of giant ragweeds in there. We end up with beans that turn yellow from manganese deficiency because the high organic matter ties up the manganese in the soil. And we don't take care of them like they need to be done because we don't like taking the sprayer in there. We bought that little Century sprayer, that one that we're talking about selling, just for that purpose. We used it for a year or 2, and we just haven't very much the last few years. Just not convenient. You're fine. And so a drone would fit that bill really well. I could go out there because these muck fields are, they're triangular shaped. They're like 8 acres. There's electric poles on one side and point rows. They're not fun. A drone would have no problems with that. and it would be super convenient. You could go out there every 2 weeks and spray them with some herbicide if you need to. You could spray manganese on them and clean them up, and we'd do a lot better job there. The problem is we're talking about 30 to 40 acres between the 4 fields, maybe. And how do you justify a $50,000 spray setup to spray 30 or 40 acres? It doesn't work. So you have to use it then for your fungicide, which next year when I have irrigated corn and we've got irrigation pipe laying across the roads and we can't use a Haggie and I have to call in an airplane, if I have a drone and I can spray 175 acres in one day, I can do that and not have to call somebody else in, and I can do it far cheaper than what they spray it for me. So yeah, I think we can justify one. I really do. But we'll see. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on that, I guess. Have you thought about going to all 30-inch beans? No, we're not going to all 30-inch beans. Won't do that. Narrow rows always trump 30-inch beans for the most part. The exception being ultra early planting like we did this year with some 30s and the white mold situation. So I think we can keep the white mold at bay via other methods, lowering our planting populations even in the 15-inch rows and stuff like that. Especially as we get later, I don't want 30-inch rows, so we're going to stick with the 15s. Guten a bend from Bern. No idea. Is that your name? Thanks. Nice. Thanks for joining. How's the driveway and path holding up? Yeah, the driveway, the concrete that we poured and the sidewalk, I mean, the sidewalk gets very little use. I haven't even swept the dirt off of it from doing some backfilling around it yet. Oh, the landscaping project has not kept up with what I was hoping to do this summer, but I don't know. I'm about to the point where I'm going to go find a landscaper and write him a check and just say, just do it and be done, because I don't have time or the energy or the knowledge, or I just don't want to do it. I don't know. We'll see. But the driveway is good. It's really nice. The kids love it. It's nice having it there. It's not perfect. I've got some imperfections in it. There's a little bit of wave. There's a couple of dimples where we didn't get it worked out good enough. So what? I saved almost $15,000 pouring that myself versus hiring somebody. Worth it. Absolutely worth it. So plan is to finish the driveway next summer or late spring or whatever. We'll pour the rest out to the road. We'll do it in 2 pours, and they'll actually be pretty small compared to the one we did this year. So shouldn't be too bad. Is Golden Harvest going to have enlist corn for 2024? I have not heard anything about enlist corn for 2024. I've seen a couple other companies talking about it. I don't think anybody's going to have any volume of it. Whether we have some trial units or something in the spring, I have no idea. Not a question I've asked, not anything I really had any interest in, to be honest. So, is the oil consumption on the combine fixed? Well, tough to say. I don't think so. I really don't think anything has been done with it. We ran it in wheat harvest there, and I think it was a little overly full to start with, and now it's just normally full. So maybe it's slightly better, but we'll know more when we really start running it. Is there any on-farm research you're doing or want to do that you're excited about? Well, I've got all my trials, right? So I've got, let's see, this year, we've got corn and beans, Ag Explore foliar feed trial. We've got my standard practice versus high management trial. We've got my source corn trials. We've got my source soybeans trials. We've got my source timing trials. So we're doing all of that kind of research. I have V5 fungicide trials where we did V5 versus no V5. We have Trivapro at V5 versus no V5 versus generic Quadris A-frame V5. So we've got a lot of those kind of stuff and situations going on where we're trying to see if some of these products that we're throwing at stuff is making a difference. So I am excited for the results on those. I feel like I've done a pretty good job of keeping my applications straight and keeping them square and keeping everything, the way it needs to be, so that we should get good data off of it. The last step is harvesting it and having good yield monitor data, and maybe even using our scale on our cart to do some actual weighing of strips versus just relying on yield monitor data. So, want to say hi? Nope. Trial areas. How is the seed data corrected for inputs applied? Think about if the seed is planted somewhere else, how does the plant perform as well as the trials or without knowing the inputs used? Well, that's why we do lots of plots, right? So on the seed trials and stuff, I'm testing a hybrid set that's being tested somewhere else, and probably 15 or 20 different locations fairly locally, and everybody's gonna have a little bit of farming practices that are a little different, and so what we end up doing is just kind of averaging that data, and as long as it's consistent across each trial, I'm not treating one hybrid different than another hybrid in the same plot, the data's still relevant. But yeah, you kind of got to look at some of that data, and that's why we always tell people, there's a bee. That's why we always tell people that you never ever rely on one plot data in 1 year in one location. You don't make decisions based on that. And people do it, and I understand why, but it's not a good idea. Because no 2 years are the same, nobody's farming the same, hybrids perform different in weather conditions from 1 year to the next. It's just not a good idea. So averaging them over several plots in 1 year is a good idea. Over several years is even better. Kind of looking at trends throughout the years helps a lot. So anything, again, I really love your videos. What are your early thoughts on your new Libra card? Yeah, I really liked it in wheat harvest. Trying to go through some of the reports and stuff on the app or the website or whatever, the cloud service, took a little while. Why are you playing with that door, Cade? Just leave it closed, bud. Just leave it closed, bud. So when Phil was trying to go through and update our crop insurance records from wheat and stuff, he kept trying to find some stuff, and for some reason, some of the truckloads were not there, but they were in the field locations and stuff. It just took us a little while to kind of figure out how all of it was sorted, but it's really good. All of it's there, and it's handy, and it was really nice, and I really like it. It's easier to use. We'll get a lot more experience with it this fall. What's up? Tell everybody hi.
Hi.
Again. Will you go get me a bottle of water, Chris? Thank you. What causes the hypothera in beans, and how can you keep it down? Hypothyria? Phytophthora. That's what you're saying, Phytophthora. So Phytophthora is a fungus or a disease or whatever. It lives in the soil. And we can control it early in the season with seed treatments. This Cruiser Max Apex that we switched to this year on a lot of our beans is supposed to have increased control of Phytophthora and of Pythium. Unfortunately, this year has been super severe, and it's coming late, and the seed treatments last for maybe 45 days after planting, so they're long gone by this time of year when things are starting to get sort of bad. So there's not really anything we can do about it now. Certain hybrid or certain varieties have more genetic resistance than others, and so you can kind of pick your hybrid or your varieties a little bit and try and place stuff where you have problems. Again, goes back to that pattern ag thing of what fields are more likely to have problems than others, and we can try and place stuff a little bit. We can make sure we're using full rates of seed treatments. But as far as fungicide or infield application in August, no, there's nothing we can do. Have you ever tried a product called Quick Roots? I have not tried it. I've heard of this one, but I have not tried it. Is Mark close by to say hello, maybe answer a few questions? Yeah, he's out working in the wood shop. He was right here when I was starting, and I told him he could be a part of this if he wanted to be, and he's like, well,
no.
he did not say no. He said, well, I'd have to go change my shirt. And I'm like, no, you don't. I don't care. But he asked me how long I'd be on. I told him about an hour, and so he may stop in.
Me?
No, Grandpa. Hi, 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 he says to you. Alex says hi with a smiley face. See? Right there. It says hi, hi, hi with a smiley face. What's the word on the Haggy? Nothing right now, Roger. We talked about this a little earlier in the live stream. I have to go back and watch it, but there was a potential Haggy deal in the works that fell apart. They sold it to somebody else, so. Oh, and the Haggy guy, yeah. So Alex, while we're talking about this, right? The guy who does our spraying, leave it. See you later. He does have a new Haggy coming. It's coming the end of the year or something, so he'll have a new one for next year. But he is keeping the one that he has. I'm going to run 2 of them, so we will not be buying his old one. Which, the day after he got done spraying our corn, he sent me a text message with a picture of his Haggy where the front axle cracked, folded up the entire wheel module suspension into the side glass of the cab and shattered it and was down. So, yeah, bad deal there. But I hear they've gotten it fixed, I think. Oh, he was spraying the other day. Advantages of planting corn on corn and beans on beans versus rotating. There's no advantage of planting corn on corn, at least not around here. Out west, they can do it because they can grow better corn than they can beans, and the yield potential is there, and the profit margin is better on corn. There's Dad. They want to say hi to you. Me? Yeah, you. But yeah, for the most part, crop rotation is a good thing, and you don't want to do, especially beans on beans. We never do beans on beans. But there's Dad. Hello. How's your double crop beans looking? The double crops look really good. They look really good. We don't get an early frost, and we're gonna have really good double crops.
You gotta quantify that.
Well, when I planted them, I told them that we'd be lucky to have 30 bushel beans, and that I'd be happy if they were 20 bushel. And now I think they might be 40. So
Well, there we go.
I don't know. Yeah, is that good? All right, I'm gonna jump ahead to see if you got any questions for Dad while he's here. Hi. What's your thoughts on crop yields this year?
A little above average,
A little above average.
hopefully.
What is your favorite kind of wood to work with?
Ooh.
Nope, this is Daddy's.
Depends on what I'm using it for. Framing white oak, but if I'm doing any kind of wood walls or something, I like sycamore a lot.
Okay.
Maple's good.
Maybe.
Red oak is the old standby.
Yep. Able to get a 360 rain yet? No, they won't sell me one, which to be fair, I haven't actually been talking to them or tried anything recently, but they have my name and phone number and know that I want one, and I don't know. Would you rather work with wood or farm? It's not an either or question, to be honest, but go ahead and answer that.
Well, it's just in season, I like driving tractor, and the rest of the time when I'm doing maintenance in the shop or something, I like working in the wood shop.
This guy wants a tour of your remodel work. I assume you mean in his wood shop, but
I'm not done yet.
yeah.
But
A tractor ride? You think you're gonna get a tractor ride? No. Maybe. Still waiting for you to pick up a camera. Do you ever think complete strangers would be so interested in your business? No, don't ask him that.
I don't know, it's just, I never think of it.
Yeah. Greetings from Australia. We are heading to a dry finish. Most of the crop not good. What will be the price of a new combine in 10 years' time? Let's see. 10 years time. I mean, depends on what kind of combine and what you're looking for, but I don't know. 800,000.
It's not gonna come down, I don't think.
It's not going to come down. Where's Brock at so we can get the whole crew? I think he had, I don't know if he's working tonight or tomorrow or something. I asked him. So Labor Day is our local town festival, and there's a parade tomorrow morning. And I asked him if he was driving the fire truck in it for the neighboring district, and he said no, he had to work. So
He works 40 hours a week at least.
plus here, yeah. Is it possible to get you to upload your videos in 2K? I mean, it's possible. Is that something you guys want? It just makes it harder for me to edit and the storage space on my phone. They're big files. I tried doing 4K and it lasted for 2 days until it filled up my phone in like literally a day and a half of recording. I'm like, nope, that ain't gonna work. What's up? Cade left? I know, I'm sorry, bud. I think Mark is in it for the free BVF shirts. I think he actually bought his own.
I did. I bought 3.
I would have given them to him, but listen, the only t-shirt I've ever seen my dad wear is this one and the white t-shirts. Like, I had no idea he would wear them.
Thought I'd support my son a little bit.
Yeah. 2 million for a new combine. That's possible. What's the worst year for crops that you remember?
Recent or ancient history?
Whatever, yeah. Dad remembers the crops from the 60s and 70s and 80s better than the ones from 10 years ago.
1981. Second year I was farming up here.
Why is that?
We didn't get corn planted till the 11th and 12th of June, and we didn't plant beans till the 25th and 26th of June.
Were you spring tiling?
We tiled 50 acres that spring.
Was it the farmer retiling now?
Yes.
See, this is a better way to do
Well,
it.
we only had one set of equipment, and Dan was down to Berkey planting, and they got done Memorial Day, and then it started raining, and it was dry up for a couple of weeks.
No, it's Parker's.
Yeah. No, not on the table.
It's Parker's.
Do you guys hunt or fish? Nope.
Sorry, I don't. I'm not sorry, but I just
Dad-
never picked it up.
Dad never did, and so I never did, pretty much.
My dad never did.
No.
My grandpa did though, but
It's much clearer in 2K. I will see how it goes. Maybe when we get into harvest, we'll start making some 2K videos. 4K is just crazy. It's too big a file. So, what are the reasons for going all John Deere?
mostly the local dealer support.
Yep.
Back in the 60s, we had international tractors too, but had a pretty good local dealer at Blissfield, Michigan. But
Talk about our case tractors from the early 90s, Dad.
well, actually, it was in the 80s.
Late 80s? Well, it was 92 when we bought the 4955, and that kind of replaced them.
Yeah, in 85 we bought a 2670, and then a few years later it was a used four-wheel drive. It was cheap horsepower. And then we traded and got a 2870, but then we kept having repairs and we got fed up with it, so we traded it.
Major repairs. I remember engine blocks sitting in the old shop floor for a year or better. So,
Yeah.
so that cured us of our case problem, I think. And our local Deere dealers, and there's two of them that we work with a fair bit that are both really good.
Yeah, the dealer support is a major thing.
And I'm sure that the red dealers and the Fendt dealers or AGCO dealers are fine too, but in my personal dealings with them, I have not been super impressed. So the Deere dealers treat me like an actual customer, which I guess is because I am an actual customer. But when I walk into one of the other dealers and I want to buy something and they just kind of ignore me for a while, it doesn't make me want to come back. Did you grow up on a farm? That's you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Mostly livestock farm.
Yep.
Corn, or hogs and cattle. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on farming in the 80s?
Got in at the wrong time at the high land prices. Interest rates we had a good interest rate at 13%.
Dad bought the farm where we're sitting in the fall of '79, or 1980 was our first year, and that was the high. Rode it all the way through.
Yeah, 86 was the low, and remember the loan officers coming out in January and looking at the farm over and deciding whether they were going to continue.
Pull the loan or not?
Yeah,
But you were never late on a payment or
no,
missed
never
a
missed
payment.
a payment.
Never missed a payment, and they were still considering
Well, it
pulling the
lost
loans.
the equity
Right.
because the prices went down.
I wish they would offer pocket tees. I don't know that any that Farm Focused has any, but I'll look into that. Wasn't 80, 81 some severe weather too?
80 wasn't terrible, but 81 was late for us because we didn't get things done in time. But I talked to a neighbor in the fall of 81, and he had 150 bushel corn where I had 80 bushel corn, and he had 50 bushel beans where I had 30 bushel beans, and he got his stuff planted on time and we
And
didn't.
to this day, he still uses this year an example. of why we plant early. Or you guys remember this spring when it was cold, or it was warm, but it was supposed to get cold and rain, and I was trying to hold back on planting, and Dad was pushing me to go and plant more? I heard that story multiple times this spring, and that's why we did it. And it, for the most part, turned out to be the right thing to do.
Well, I was only 25 at the time, and I had a lot of money at risk.
Yeah, well,
It scared
we
me.
got a lot of money at risk now too, but yeah. I would love for Mark to sit down on the camera and actually sit down and do a couple of videos on the history of the farm. Okay, Heath. So I used to number my videos. If you go back about 2 years, find video number 500, and Dad was sitting in the combine with me, and we went through a bunch of this history. Will the chemical dealer be dropping by steaks for you guys? You mean for me advertising Acuron earlier? He should be, but no. Probably not. How many generations of farmers are there between Mark, Mom? What? How many generations of farmers are there between Mark? I don't quite understand your question, but
There's everybody in our family, for as long as I can remember back, has been farmers
right.
on the Baker side
So-
and the Hertzfeld side.
So your grandpa started kind of where we're at in Berkey there, right?
Yeah. His name was Alfred. We called him Dick. They called him Dick, but he moved to Berkey in 1926.
1926.
My dad started at his farm there on Merge Road in 1951, and then we came up here in 1980. And
But your great grandpa farmed over by Maumee, Perrysburg before that?
my mom's side of the family, the Hertzfelds, they farmed for generations from the 1850s
Right.
over in Waterville, White House area. And they moved from Germany, and all our ancestors moved from Europe, and they were farmers over there when they were over there.
But your great grandpa on your dad's side, Baker
Um,
side, came from, you know?
They came from the German-France border area. They were on the east side of Toledo.
Yeah. Were they the original settlers from Germany or France, or how many generations were there before your grandpa came out to Berkeley?
Probably my grandfather's grandfather was the one that moved.
So maybe two.
1870s, maybe. It might have been his dad, but he died. My great-grandfather died when he was fairly young.
I see. My uncle Ron does the genealogy stuff. He would know this better than I do. But
Yeah.
so that would, let's see, if there was 2 generations there, and I would be the 4th here, that makes me 6th, and this one maybe number 7. Are you gonna farm?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. But for ground that we are farming now, I guess I would be 4th gen,
Yeah.
and one of those farms we still farm today, the original one from 1926. So we're
Congrats.
3 years out from 100 years.
Yep. 20 more minutes. Yeah.
Thoughts on these high-speed discs? They seem to annihilate residue. So the compact high-speed discs, I'm not a huge fan of. I was at a field day once a couple of years ago where they ran one of those next to a vertical tilt disc, kind of like our Lanol, but it was a different brand. And we went out and dug behind them, and the compact one really waved the ground underneath. It was super uneven and not level, and I was not impressed, where the other version did a really nice job. So I honestly have little interest in buying a high-speed compact disc. Who's your favorite child? He wants to know. Have you finished the LP transfer tank yet? I haven't seen it. Yeah, you haven't and won't, but okay. Some say a t-shirt without a pocket is just a rag. Is that right? I'm not such a fan of pocket tees, but whatever. 81 was 41 years ago. Thanks. Would you rather farm 3,000 acres rented or 300 owned outright? Ooh. Both.
You farm more than own 300.
We do, but 300 acres isn't enough, even if you own it outright, to support the families that we are in our operation. 3,000 rented would be. When is Mark going to do some planting?
I'm not. I'm done. I'm retired from planting.
You could plant some wheat this fall,
I
maybe.
might plant wheat for a little bit if I have to.
Look, it's bracing. Hi, bud.
Best thing I did in 2009 when Nathan said, "Can I plant the first field of corn?" I said yes.
I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. So,
I don't
Dad always planted all the corn, not on this table. You can go on the bench over there. Dad always planted all the corn when I was a kid, and I would do some a lot of the tillage work and stuff. And then after I got out of college, I was working for Golden Harvest, and so I was kind of busy, but I was around when I could be. And then 2009 was my first year here full time, and I had been around the planter enough. I knew how it worked, but Parker, can you take that outside, please? It's too loud right now.
Nathan's on the video.
I remember the field, I think it's the field we just finished tiling. Or maybe the backfield, I don't know. It was dry, and I said we should be planting, and Dad was gone. I don't remember where he was, what he was doing, but I called him up and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna go plant that. Is that okay with you?" And he said yes. And he basically has not been in the planter since.
I planted a couple fields 2 years ago.
That's just how it kind of went. Yeah.
I don't miss it at all. I do miss planting the corn, but not all the monitors and technology.
We've advanced
'Cause I
the technology
remember
a long
before
way.
he came back, we had a planter, and I went to the field, and I couldn't get it to work. Well, the computer wouldn't let me engage the planter because I didn't set up the field in the field.
Right.
I had to call him on the phone and get instructions how to make it work, and I thought,
Something about a hammer and a screen was what I remember from that phone call. Did the sisters, daughters ever get involved with farm growing up? Not a lot. So Anna's probably the most involved of all of them, and she really wasn't growing up, but now that she has a job in the career field, she's taken a lot more interest to it, I would say.
tried telling them to learn how to drive tractor, but they always refused.
Yeah.
Told them it was a good life skill to have, it'd get them a good job, but no.
Dad,
What?
how am I gonna do this?
I don't know, till people stop asking me questions, probably.
Guess I better give him a tractor ride and get him out of here.
Mark used to be so camera shy. How did he evolve into the superstar he is now? What
I
changed?
don't think I am.
Who's your closest anhydrous ammonia dealer you buy from now that Wilbur Ellison Munson is done dealing in it? Yeah, so I haven't talked about that on here yet, but so you guys know I've been a pretty big fan of anhydrous for a while.
Are they watching right now?
They are watching right now. There's 218 people watching right now. Can you believe that? And anyway, our local supplier that's about 6 or 7 miles from here closed up about a week ago, or a month ago now, I guess. And so we're kind of scrambling a little bit to figure out what we're going to do. The next closest dealer is probably 7, 8 miles away
Daddy.
to the north.
Yeah.
But they're a sort of a small location. They can handle our demand. They can't handle all the demand coming from this other location that's closed up. So whether or not we go there and try and use them, there's 2 other dealers that are 20 miles away, 15 to 20, but that's a haul with anhydrous tanks. The problem with switching to liquid is it would take 90,000 gallons of liquid. Parker, dude,
We're gonna
you just
go.
gotta give us some time. All right, thanks, Dad.
I gotta give it a tractor ride. See you guys.
And so trying to handle that kind of volume is a problem. You guys gonna go for a tractor ride with Parker? No. Okay. You going? Come here. So we're trying to figure that one out a little bit. I think what's probably gonna happen for next year is that we will try and stick with anhydrous and probably divide that order up between a couple of different retailers to try and buffer the supply and the demand and trying to continue to have supply, assuming that that does not go well, because I have my doubts that it will go well. We may very well be looking for that switch to liquid in 2025 crop year, which I'm not real thrilled about, but at least it gives us some time to plan and get some infrastructure in place to maybe be able to store some and handle it. Oh, we may have to buy a tanker trailer. Who knows?
Daddy.
What?
How much people? How do they see the watching it right now?
Well, we're doing what's called the live stream. And so the camera, you see this right here is a camera on my phone. and it is recording and watching us, and it's putting it up on YouTube on the internet, like you used to like, or you like to watch YouTube videos, right?
Well, well, now the favorite grandma, I don't really watch videos that
You
much.
don't really watch that videos much because you're at grandma's.
No, I don't really watch videos because I have a favorite game now.
Oh, because you have a game that you play instead of watching videos. Got it. Anyway, so these people that are watching, they like to watch the videos that I post during the weeks, and so they wanted to see us live, and they can type in their questions there, and I can read them and answer them on the video. You think they have any questions for you? I don't know. We'll see here. I know I missed some of your questions earlier. I'm probably not going to make it back up to them. I'm sorry. 81 was my first year of high school. Remembered some different weather that year, followed by a blizzard of 78. Did you have like 12 feet of snow there in 78? So obviously I wasn't around in 78, but we did have the blizzard of 78. I remember hearing about it, and there was snow drifts as tall as the houses, from what I'm telling, or from what I understand. So I predict Mark will film one day. We just need to keep encouraging him. Good luck, guys. You're going to be as tough to hire boss as your dad was college or trade school before hiring. So I have not taken the hardline stance that my kids have to go to college before I hire them at this point. We'll see. I think it was really good for me to not work here for a couple of years out of school and to get some outside experience. And so while that may be a really tough thing to do 15 years from now when I really need some help, that may be a rule. Like, go get a job, work somewhere else for a couple of years, and then see if this is what you really want to do and come back to. I don't know. We'll see. I hope that my boys care and want to farm. If they don't have to. It's fine. Don't have to. And I am trying to build enough other stuff that even if the farm itself isn't the interest, the seed business or some of this other stuff that I'm working with maybe can be, or who knows. Maybe I'll just be killing it on social media and making so much money on YouTube that they can just take that over and not have to work. I don't know. We'll see. Are you familiar with the potting or tillage tools that Andy Horan uses? And if so, what are your thoughts? Not super familiar. I've heard of the brand, but I couldn't tell you any opinions about their actual tools. Second generation of my family. It looks like I will be the last of my family. 64 years old. My kids have their own businesses and they're doing great. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's fine. So I am the typical the opinions that people have about the farm kids that are born into it instead of starting it from their own. And I have a ton of respect for people that can go out and start farming on their own, first gen or even the second gen guys. But that wasn't my situation. I was very fortunate that my dad did extremely well before when I was a kid. And I mean, we struggled as a kid. I remember things not being good. The early 2000s were rough when I was in high school, but somewhere between 2004 and 2006, things turned rapidly for us. And Dad made a lot of good decisions and he worked really hard, and I had an established operation to come back to, and I will never apologize for that. It is not my fault that I had something good to come back to. And it's not like, I don't care if people are jealous. Like I realize the fortune that I had there, but anybody that wouldn't want that for their kids, I don't know what's wrong with you. Like, I am trying to build that legacy and have something that my kids can do when they get out of school, if that's what they want to do. But I do struggle a little bit with trying to create my own stuff and do it myself. And I do think that I brought a lot of value to the farm and a lot of the trial work that we're doing in the technology side and trying to push the yields and really improving the efficiencies of what we're doing. But I'm also doing it outside of that with things like the YouTube stuff, or with my seed business and some of the other products that I'm starting to deal with and this stuff. And I've got some opportunities that aren't in direct sales with Golden Harvest, but actually doing some stuff with them that's going to potentially increase that business tremendously over the next year here, which is great, but I have to have the time to do it. And so I may be at a point where I need to hire somebody to keep my seed business stuff working and everything this year. And that's good, but we're gonna build an empire here. It's just gonna take a while. I would like to see Mark plant some corn next spring with all that technology in the cab. You'd be good to get him to see him ride in the tractor in the spring. He won't drive it, but he might ride in it. I don't know that he did it at all this spring. Do you think Anna will ever come to the farm full time? No, I don't. Not really. I could see a scenario where she might come kind of hybrid, work for the farm and for me, back and forth, and run my seed business for me. But no, I don't think she wants to do the everyday labor stuff on the farm. I think she would enjoy the business side and maybe the agronomy side of it, but the operational side, I don't see it. If she wants to, we'll make a spot. I'll absolutely make a spot. We'll have a spot, but I don't think that's gonna happen. She's got a really good job. She's enjoying it. She's doing good. She has her good days and bad, but I think she'll be just fine where she's at. And I think that when she does find a permanent position or a non-training position within the company where she's at now, hopefully she does like it and she's really well. Grayson and Rylan. They said hi to Grayson and Rylan. Are you Grayson? No, not quite. Brayson, with a B. How do you spell your name?
Braysen.
Braysen. He says hi.
What?
This guy said hi. Hi. I have a plan to start a podcast with all the popular farm dads. There you go. Good luck. That'd be awesome. The best podcasts that the farm guys do are the ones they do with their dads. Like Brian's with his dad was awesome. And did Zach ever do one with his dad? I know he talked about it. I think he did, and I think it was a pretty good one. So, yeah. Buy the tanks. Well, we talked about that with the anhydrous, right? Buying their bulk tanks, but the liability that comes with that, and I don't know if I'm willing to make that kind of investment into anhydrous either, because the trend in the industry is away from anhydrous. It is dying, and I have somewhat questioned the soil health benefits or negatives of using anhydrous. So if it forces our hand, it forces our hand. I'm not excited about the volume that liquid would require, and I do think that the anhydrous is a better form of nitrogen for the plants. It's just, it does have drawbacks. So it is what it is. See you, Grandpa Mark. He left a while ago. Even if you buy the tanks, you still got to get in line at the pumps. Well, he meant buy the bulk tanks and have our own transfer tanks and not have to go to the plant. We'll just bring it in on a truckload here. We went to liquid nitrogen 5 years ago and never looked back. Don't miss an H3. See, I talked to somebody last week that said that they use some, that they won't switch to liquid because they've seen a big yield penalty using liquid over anhydrous, like 5 to 7 bushel. And I've never used liquid to notice that, and I've never heard anybody else say that. But again, that form of nitrogen in the anhydrous is better than 28. 28's got an extra conversion step it has to get to the form that anhydrous is as soon as you put it in the soil. So, what are you doing, sis? Buy a semi-tanker for the anhydrous. How many small tanks or duals would a tanker truck fill up? How many trips a day would you have to make in a semi? I think it's like 7 or 8 small tanks to a semi. But yeah, it's okay. Hi. Hi. What you got? My magnet? No, not in your mouth. It's not the fluid on. Thank you. All right. Question for your son. Who is the best cook, mom or dad? You guys tell them. They can't see you. Who is?
Dad.
Dad, yeah. Dad does a lot of the cooking at home, at least in the evenings. There are big tanks are for sale and small tanks just have semi-loads. Come fill your farm a lot cheaper. Yeah, they offered one of their big tanks. We kind of turned them down. I don't want that liability here or that investment. How are the boys liking school this year?
Good.
Good? Making friends? 2 friends?
Yeah.
Is your teacher nice? Yeah? What's your favorite part of school? Recess. Standard kindergarten answer. That's my water, sis. I don't want to give it to you. Yeah, it's mine. No. Hi, I love following your farm. I assume you were very happy with your new corn planter in the spring season. Yeah, I did a full review on that. You can go back and find it. For the most part, it was really good. There's a few tweaks that we need to make for next year. Our in-furrow fertilizer application method needs to change. The drop nozzles were kind of splattering everywhere, so I didn't like that. But yeah, it worked really well. It was awesome. What? Hi. Would you accept a trade school too if you do take that line? Probably. Diesel mechanic would be nice. Professional welding. Yeah, and you know, that was kind of one of the regrets. Not regrets, but things that I wish I may have done a little bit different when I was going through school and stuff. Like at Michigan State, I was an ag business major, right? And they had, oh yeah.
No, thank you.
Running with scissors is what we let our toddlers do. But they had a ag tech, or not tech, what did they call it? A 2-year school for ag, I guess it was ag tech. But it was a 2-year associate's degree and stuff. But they were 0-level classes that wouldn't have counted for me. But they had things like welding and mechanics and some of that, ag technology stuff that would have been super useful for me. I wouldn't have counted to my degree, and I would have had to pay for it. And I wish that I would have had that opportunity to take some of those kind of classes, because it would be super helpful to know how to weld. And I can do it, but I can't do it well. And I think that if I don't even need a 6-month class. I need a 2-day class to teach me how to set the dials on the dang MIG welder, you know? Like that's what I don't know where the voltage and the wire speed should be for different stuff. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So when's the new Haggie coming? My Haggie guy's getting a new Haggie this fall. We were dealing on one that fell through, so that's what I'll tell you. This is my first year full-time farming with my dad, but being off the farm a couple of years, definitely the move makes you appreciate it more. Yeah, I mean, it makes you appreciate it. It gets you that experience to see something else. I still draw on my experiences from the 2 years that I was off the farm with Golden Harvest and dealing with other people.
Where's Ryan?
With Grandpa and the tractor.
Is Parker there too?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, getting some experience away and just seeing something. And what Anna's doing now, getting a year off in Iowa, is fantastic. It just may not be the most fun thing in the world to be away from stuff, especially for me. Like I would have hated that because I couldn't come home every weekend and farm, right? But different situation. Send them on a harvest cruise. They can go out to Texas and harvest their way up to Montana. Hi, Grayson. What's your favorite tractor on the farm and why is it your favorite?
The 9R.
The 9R. Why is it your favorite?
Because it's bigger all the rest of the tractors.
Because it's bigger than all the rest of the tractors. That's a good answer. Since your brother-in-law is a pilot, you should start a company for crop dusting. Kyle Detweiler made a real good video when they dusted their crops. We had this conversation. I told him I would buy the plane and he would just be my pilot and run the business, but haven't made any progress on him there. The logistics and data collection. Lots more data will increase efficiency. That's the idea. Sometimes you wonder, but yes. Hi from Norway. Nice to see you live. Welcome. In the UK, we just finished a bang average harvest. Will falling prices have you locked in much forward? Wish we would have done more. Yeah, so I don't handle the grain marketing side of stuff nearly as much as I probably should. But yeah, we do have some pretty good contracts on the board, some stuff forward priced. Some of the stuff, it's a lot of HTAs, hedge to arrive contracts that the basis is not set on. But better than today's prices, most of them. It's tough to say whether we have enough sold or too much or who knows. We were a little hesitant early in the year because things didn't look very good, but now I think we're actually going to have a pretty decent year. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe when Anna wants to settle down, she can return and run the seed business and source side. It'd be a great fit for both of you and push both businesses to the next level. It's possible. We'll see. What?
Why is there corn out there?
Why is there corn out there?
Right
Must have been in the Gator or something, some of the ears we were picking. We use 32% put by side dress. Yeah, I can't get 32 here. That's just, we're too far north for that. It'll sold out over winter, and so nobody sells it, nobody handles it. We don't get 32. It's all 28. But yeah. Seen any good movies lately? Not really. I don't really watch too many movies. Can you apply liquid 28 or another liquid with the anhydrous bar? You could. It could be converted to liquid. However, it is a very high maintenance and expensive bar to run liquid through. You can do it much cheaper with other application methods. So the switch to liquid while anhydrous or while there would be a lot of infrastructure required to do so, but the applicator side of it would be kind of a wash. Like, I think we could trade our bar for a liquid applicator relatively even, except that it would give me the opportunity to go to a 24 row applicator or 23 or 25 shank and be able to expand and go faster that way. So could be some advantages there. That may be a little bit of an upgrade from what our bar is worth, but it costs a little bit more. And it just depends on how far you want to go, right? You want a nice underfirth applicator with tracks on it? Yeah, okay, it's going to cost twice what our bar's worth. But that's not really necessary. So we'll see. We're not there yet, but those kind of things we're going to have to talk about this winter a little bit more and maybe do some experimenting with our nitrogen program next spring in order to know what the best option is moving forward. Do you have one of those OXO or whatever Brian uses dealers around or near? They say those are as tall as a Haggy. Oxbow. Yeah, so Brian's Oxbow dealer is actually a whole lot closer to me than it is to him. And in fact, it's west, about an hour and a half west of us. So yeah, that would theoretically be an option. I don't know. I don't know a lot about their stuff. One thing that does keep us using John Deere a lot is that I use a lot of John Deere technology, and I know the computers and the sprayers, and I know how they work, and Dad knows how they work. And if we started throwing multiple systems at it, it gets a little more complicated. We don't need any hammers mixing with computer screens. How was your tractor ride? Why are you smashing those? Don't do that. You gotta clean them up.
Bad.
Crackers. Kids.
Parker came out of working.
You didn't run over my corn, did you, Parker?
No.
Has Mark driven the 8RX much? Not much. He has a little bit, but not much. And I don't know if Max. I don't know if he's done any actual field work with it. Should have your sons pick up that corn that was mowed down for the tile and shell it with the crank sheller. Rylan takes every ear he can find in there and tries to run it through the crank sheller, and he keeps grinding up mushy stuff because the ears are way too wet for it and making a mess.
You're watching Monster Trucks and Teeth and Wow.
Make sure Anna marries a diesel mechanic that can weld. That's not up to me. See ya. Planting seed. I see the airstrip out back of the barn in the house, or your seed warehouse. Yeah. I don't know what a Kit Fox plane is, but I would totally buy one of those little powered parachute things and fly it around. I think that'd be awesome. Brayson. You just missed him. Sorry, man. Gonna drive the combine this year. He might. NH3 versus liquid. Preference changes across the country depending on climate and soil types. NH3 in dry country and sand country. Not easy to do. Well, we're not in dry or sand country, so it's working for us. What if you ran liquid alongside the NH3 and have NH3 bind to the liquid? I don't think that would work. Is there hydrogen in 28? Would anhydrous bind to liquid 28? Got to be some water in it. Either way, that's an extremely complicated application system that would not work.
Well, they used to make aqua water, like
Aqua ammonia.
2000, they just take anhydrous and dissolve it in water.
Right. You guys looking at any different equipment, like a Haggy? Bought a Haggy this year and first year with a self-propelled sprayer. Absolutely love it. There was a Haggy deal that fell through a few weeks ago. We'll see what happens. It's possible, but we don't have anything in the works right now. What you got, sister? How do do you keep up with what chemicals to use with so many different products on the market? Yeah, I mean, we've kind of picked a company that we work with a lot, and they all have their rebate programs and stuff, and so we've stuck with one, and they treat us fairly well and have pretty good products. Yeah, she's out here. So that's been good. You coming over here? You should come over here. But yeah, there's lots of options. It's just a matter of picking the ones that fit for you. Say hi.
Hi, everybody.
Right, there you go. Hardly ever saw animals in your video over the years, but just heard a dog. No dogs or cats around, not that you have to copy Zach Johnson. Yeah, Zach puts his in every time. There is a dog running around here. It's my sister's, not the sister's. She's just here for the weekend, so it's here. Its name is Knox. Hi, Mark. Any updates on the orange corn? Now, we can go out there and look at it sometime, but it's just a short ear of corn. I wonder if it's got an ear on it. We'll go look sometime. Yeah, Gary, I don't actually use a computer to edit my videos. I do it all on my phone. Do it all from my phone, so transfer times isn't really important, but yeah. Got some Dr. Pepper that says you will have 215 bushel average. We will have a field maybe that has a 215 bushel average. I highly doubt our farm average will be 215. They say DEF is good fertilizer. Well, DEF is just urea dissolved in water. I don't know what the nitrogen content is exactly, but it's like 32.5% urea, so you could do the math and figure that out. It is, it's just nitrogen. It's expensive nitrogen, but it's nitrogen. Hey Mark, how has the farm tech changed from when you started till now? And has it been for the better or worse? Whew.
Oh, it's been better, but it's more complicated,
Yep.
and you get a lot more information. When I went to college, I had to buy a computer for chemistry class. It was a Texas Instruments 80, and it cost me $80.
TI-80.
A calculator?
Huh? Yes, the regular calculator.
I thought you said computer.
He did. That was a computer in 80, in 78.
I worked in the soils lab, and they had to have punch cards for the computer to calculate their soil values. I had to do a punch card. That's how old I am.
He uses what he sells. Keeps the list smaller. Well, I don't really sell a lot of chemicals, so not exactly. Hi, Anna. Hi, Anna. Really like the family inclusion from time to time. Good. Hi, Anna. Hey, Anna, which is better, Golden Harvest or Pioneer?
I can't answer that.
She cannot answer that.
Pioneer.
Dad can. They all grow through them. So. Viewership increases by 44% when you have other than all dudes in them. Yeah, I am aware. This is why Anna was in Friday's video, and it's done fairly well. Question for Anna, is Nathan mean in real life as he seems to be to Brock?
No, my brother's not mean to me. Maybe when I was younger, he was.
Whatever! You were the favorite, and you know it.
Yeah, that's probably true. No, Nathan's not mean to me.
From Grandpa did punch cards for FMC for all that calculating. My grandpa did punch cards. We're all trying to set you up with a welding diesel mechanic. One person said that, but apparently they all are.
Okay. As long as he's smart, has reasonable political views, and is age appropriate.
Will you guys ever move to the metric system? What are you talking about? All the bolts on all of our equipment are metric. I doubt it. Doubt it. Although, I don't know where you're from, Ty, but if you're Canadian, you guys have no room to talk because you claim to be metric system, but then you still talk about stuff in standard imperial units a lot, and I was confused.
What? Give me an example. What are you talking
Well, like they use well, it's all kilometers per hour and stuff on the highway, but they were using inches for some measurements. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was like pressures are still in PSIs or something. I don't know. It's like a mix up there. You gonna drive the combine this year, or are you gonna be too busy?
I live 6 or 7 hours away. No, I'm not going to drive the combine.
Find somebody out there to teach you
I
how.
don't know how to drive
Yeah.
the combine.
If you find any customers out there that are driving X9s that you get to ride with, I'm gonna need you to film that for me. send me the videos.
I saw someone, I was at someone's house and they have a brand new combine that they got, haven't used it yet.
Do you know what the number is?
No, and I don't think I took a photo of it either.
It's the first thing you look at. I pulled into one of my seed customers the other day, and they got a brand new combine in the shop. First thing I did was go up and look at the number. It was a new 760, S760. When you think harvest is coming, crops are turning quick. When do you think harvest is coming, Dad?
20th of September.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. September
27th.
20th. I think we're 3 weeks out, or just about. But it's hot and relatively dry right now, or kind of. We're not dry, but it's hot. It's gonna make things progress pretty quickly. Do you ever get data paralysis when it comes to making decisions? It can happen, right? So we have so much information, you gotta figure out how to use it and what to do with it. My biggest issue has been trying too many things and stacking trials on top of trials that just kind of destroys the data on everything. So I've made a really conscious effort this year to keep all of that straight and not have trials on top of trials, and we're just doing one thing in this field and that's it. And I think I've done a pretty good job. We should have good data this fall. Cambridge, UK. He's not from Canada. What family does Phil and Jack have? Well, they're both my dad's brothers. Phil has a wife, and Jack has a wife and 2 kids
They're all grown up.
that are all grown, yeah. Yields in bushels are fairy tales. Well, now this one I can get on board with. We should totally be selling stuff or measuring in hundredweights. That makes sense, because a bushel is technically volume, but we sell it as weight, and it confuses people a lot. Right, Anna? Test weight.
We just had this conversation the last time I was home.
It confuses people. So yeah, I understand what you're saying there. Yeah,
Dad,
we're
who's
mixed
your
up here.
favorite child?
I already asked this. It's probably Mason or Cal at this point.
Grandchild or child?
It's all the same.
I love them all.
Uh-huh. That's true about the Canadians. Just stick to one system, but surely the metric system makes the most sense. Yeah, that's true. Seems like you work from dawn to dusk. Do you guys get tired? I'm just trying to keep up with people that I work with, right?
Oh, we're fine.
Yeah. It varies, in season when we're busy, yeah, we work a lot, long hours, and I put in longer hours than they do when we're in the combines and the planters, but that doesn't last all year, all the time, and we do what we have to do to get our work done. If you had a 6-box planter instead of CCS, an interesting experiment would be 2 rows of DeKalb, 2 rows of Golden Harvest, and 2 rows of Pioneer in your field to see if it does anything. Well, that would be an interesting experiment, except for you wouldn't be able to harvest it and figure out anything from it. That's just a test plot. Have you learned anything from me?
Yeah, he's my big brother. Of course I've learned things from him. I think that's not a very specific question, so.
Yeah.
And I don't know,
Yeah.
That's a hard question to answer.
What data points, if any, that Pioneer advocates have you shared with Nathan? Advocates.
Nothing too crazy.
She's still learning. Like she's what, 3-4 months into this, and you haven't even started a real sales season yet. They're just getting going into that. So I've asked her about prices a couple of times, and she keeps telling me they don't have them yet. I don't know if I believe her, but that's what she keeps telling me.
I don't know them. I think the prices are out, but I don't have access to them.
What was your major?
I was a horticulture major with a minor in agronomy.
What's the next upgrade? Well, we'll see. We don't have anything really right now, but sprayer is high on the list. Potentially another semi-tractor is on the list. I'd like another tractor. It's not super high priority right now, but someday we'll get there. Potentially a upgraded bean planter could be on the list of things that we need to look at. What about you? What do you want? What do we need to buy?
I'm happy.
Yeah.
We got to do something with the sprayer.
Yeah.
That's next on the list.
Our grain systems are both in really good shape, minor upgrades like that bin floor and stuff, but we don't really need any more storage. Our dryers are in pretty good shape, so we don't need to do anything there. try and get Dad to buy an excavator or bulldozer.
Then we'd have to buy a trailer.
Then we'd have to buy a trailer. That's okay. I meant about seed genetics and all that stuff. I mean, we've talked about seed genetics and stuff, but
I would say more so like I go out and I'm working now, or I would have a class and then I would ask Nathan about it. I don't think, that's how I would say our relationship.
we've compared some notes over the summer, or things that she's learning about and talking about, and then we'll talk about them and what I know, or back and forth a little bit on some of that stuff. But
Yeah.
it's fun. Like she did a silage plot. Was that last week? 2 weeks ago?
Last Friday.
Last week, and I remember when I was working for Golden Harvest as a sales rep 15 years ago. I remember doing a silage plot, so I kind of gave her my notes, and what I remembered from that was it anything like what I told you?
I don't know.
Don't even remember what I said. Did you have to take samples?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wasn't the main one in charge of that,
Yeah.
but they did take some samples.
So, just that kind of stuff. But we did our yield checks together. Anna, do you and your dad talk agronomy? Wasn't that his major also?
Yeah, every
It
time I
was.
come home, I think
Yeah, we talk about it some,
we talk about,
especially when you were
The
taking
weather.
classes in Michigan State, we talked about it some.
yeah, and I feel like we talk about it more now that I work in ag.
Hi.
Dad's major was agronomy,
Crop and soil science.
crop and soil
Yep.
science, so.
Did Mark show your sister's suitors his gun collection when they came to take them on a date?
No.
They were in college, so they weren't really around at that time. Well, there was probably some in high school, but not the current ones.
They have more guns than I do.
That's probably true, actually.
Absolutely.
How's the new scraper pan? It looked like it did a better job cutting from the video. It could be the fact that it's new cutting edge from the factory.
Yes,
Like it?
I like it a lot. It's just getting a little used to it.
Well, you said that after I stopped and talked to you one day, and I watched the next pass, and it was perfect.
It
was
does a
really
nice job. Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's not all bent up like the other one.
we'll have some more uses for it. Are you gonna take that one to Berkey?
I have to, yeah.
Yeah, we had that ditch cleaned out down to Berkey, and we got to kind of spread those spoils out or move them. So we'll probably take it down there to do that. Seeing all three is like a view in the past and future of ag. Yep, there you go. Hopefully no grain dryer fires this year. Yes, that is true. Hopefully no grain dryer fires. Do agronomist Mark and agronomist Wade ever disagree? I don't know that they have, but they probably haven't compared notes too much.
Me and Wade?
Yeah, Wade, my agronomist.
No, he's good.
He's good. I really like Wade. He's very good at his job.
No, they do a good job.
How's the new fuel trailer going and holding up? Well, we haven't used it since harvest. We didn't do late summer irrigation this year, where I would have used it a lot. So we'll see how much we use it this fall. But combine and beans down to Berkey, we'll need to take a bunch of fuel down for that.
That'll be great.
It is super handy when we use it. The issue is that we just don't use it a ton. And
We will a lot more this fall.
yeah, we'll use it a lot this fall, I think. So it is very nice, though. It's an awesome fuel trailer. I highly recommend it if you need a fuel trailer. Doing a year or two of crop like peas and some vegetable help prevent the spread of black tar spot. So if tar spot, maybe if you rotate to a non-host crop, which you could do like beans and wheat, those are non-hosts for tar spot. The issue is that it's also airborne, and so it's going to blow in from the neighbor's fields anyway, so that's not really going to help. And you can't grow something like peas or vegetables when you don't have a market for it. Or like,
The equipment to harvest it.
yeah, but where would I sell peas?
Well, I know that's the first thing.
Right. So I was talking to a guy yesterday who said, you should grow pumpkins. They're worth $6,000 an acre, or $12,000 an acre, or whatever it was. And okay, fine, but where am I going to sell them? How am I going to harvest them? Who's going to do this, right? So you just can't do that.
Your kids.
My kids, yeah. I'm going to get them out there to pick 20 acres of pumpkins. What's up from Southeast Alabama? I'm guessing that fuel trailer is staying. I mean, well, we haven't bought it yet, but yeah, probably. I think Mark's favorite job is grandpa. Really love your channel, so informative, down to earth. Welkers, Zach, and even Brian are basically shopping channels now. Quality is poor compared to 3 years ago. You deserve 10 times the subs. If I had 10 times the subs, I'd be a shopping channel too. No, I understand what you're saying though. I try and keep it very focused on stuff that's relevant to my channel and not just anybody that wants to sell something, right? So, hey Mark, how did you both farms back in the day with the equipment and slow road speeds? Sharing equipment.
Well, usually it was a struggle because you didn't know where you were gonna plant first, depending on the rain and everything. But we started with one set of equipment, and then over time we duplicated. When we got more acres up here, we got the second corn planter.
Yep.
And then in the 90 or so, we got a no-till drill, John Deere no-till drill. It helped out. And just as
2 combines. When did you get the second combine? Was
um,
it the 6620?
no, we had two 4400s.
Oh, you ran 4440 or 4400 up
Yeah, we bought a 4440 used one back in 84 maybe.
Oh, so that didn't take long.
No. And then Dan would get done down there, and we'd run two 4400s up here sometimes.
I remember him bringing up the, I don't know if he ever brought the, was it a 4435?
Maybe a couple times.
I don't remember that one coming up, but I do remember him bringing the 9500 back up. After it, when this operation got bigger here than the one at Berkey, we started a couple times we would trade or buy something new here and take our old one from here to the Berkey and then trade the one that was down there and kind of do a 3-way swap type thing. So, yeah. Anna, are you learning a specific Pioneer product or just learning all of them?
Well, I'm in seed sales, so.
So you're corn and beans, right?
Yeah.
Doing anything with wheat?
No.
Yeah, you don't have wheat in Iowa. Never mind. That
There
was a
is
dumb
some,
question.
like down by the Missouri border where that's included in our territory, but I don't deal a lot with it.
So what's your kind of maturity range on corn and beans?
108 to, I know that, at least 114.
Okay.
It might go to 115.
So she's learning the products in that range, 108 to 115 day corns. Beans, you're 2.8 to 3.5s, 3.7s?
I think it might be I think we might have 2.5s to
Okay.
3.8, I think.
So she's similar bean maturities to where we are. Sort of the same on corn, but we go a little earlier than that and don't go quite as full season. So. Mark, might it be only a matter of time before we get a wood shop tour? We'll go out there sometime.
Yeah, maybe this winter. I got another project I'm planning.
Out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that what that is right there?
No.
Grew 5 acres of pumpkins and nearly went bankrupt from the deer. Didn't even get enough crop to pay for the seeds. See? Another good looking face. Nathan, baby number 4 coming soon. Looks like you need one more. I don't think so. Don't think so. Why does Phil not want to be on camera? Phil doesn't want to be on camera. I'm not going to put a camera in his face. That's just how it is. So, was the 4440 tractor part of the equipment you had when you farmed it back in the day? History of the 4440.
Bought it new in 1978, March
Your dad?
78. My dad bought it new.
For the Berkey operation, that was before here.
Yeah, it was a couple years before we came up here.
And that tractor stayed down there most of the time, didn't it?
Well, we brought it up one before we got
going back and forth.
we bought a 4520 in 1981, which was almost the same horsepower.
Yep.
And we went back and forth with both of them fitting. We had 2 fitting tractors.
Okay.
And then
I just remember Dan using that for a long time before
he did
bought the
8200.
8200, and then it came up here. That's right. Yep.
Yep. I planted with the 4020, and then after we got the new 6-row, I burned up the clutch in a year because the hydraulics weren't enough, so we put the 4440 on the 6-row.
For some reason, I have less attachment to the 4440 than the 4020, and I would not be sad if we ever traded the 4440 off and got a nice new utility tractor. But we'll see.
There was a 4440 sold for $59,000.
I would sell ours in a heartbeat for.
It only had
anywhere-
$2,600.
Yeah.
Not 26,000.
We don't have 26,000. Maybe 15, maybe, I don't know. Do you show your dad your cheap auto insurance compared to his high Michigan rates?
Yes.
Well, the farm is Michigan-based and pays for my auto insurance, so yeah. Anna, any farm clients so far, YouTubers, or run into other farm clients know your crazy brother is a YouTuber? So do you deal with anybody that is a YouTuber, or does anybody that you have dealt with know about my channel?
Well, most of the people that I work with are older gentlemen, and they do not YouTube. And I had one person that recognized me from the YouTube who asked me if I was Nathan's sister, and I said yeah, but I don't think he is a YouTuber himself.
She did at a field day or some event earlier this summer get to meet Mitchell Hora,
Oh, yeah.
which is a pretty big name in ag world out there, Continuum Ag. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was like the first week I was on the job. I went on a service call, and he was out there as well. So
Who's he?
He's the founder of this Continuum Ag. He's big in the
Regenerative.
habitat, the regenerative ag, soil health stuff. He was the speaker at
Oh.
Jay's field day this year.
Yeah.
oh, he was.
Yeah, he does a podcast, the Fieldwork podcast with Millennial Farmer with Zach. So I'm gonna need you to use that connection to introduce me to Zach.
I met him one time. He does not even know who I am.
But you got his phone number, right?
No, I did not even get his card.
When is Mark gonna vlog? Yeah, you see, using the word vlog isn't gonna help. That's not gonna help. A series soybeans for the win.
Number one.
Apparently, our new corn lineup now is the B series, and I'm like, who is our marketing people? Like, that just like I get it, they all have a B in the name, but it kind of like means you're second class right there, right? It's all
They
right.
already used the A somewhere, didn't
That's Pioneer. Golden Harvest hasn't used A. We could use A,
they?
but then it'd be stealing from them. So we have Gold Series soybeans, so that's good. I spray our wheat crop 4 times in the spring over here. I bet you're doing the same the next decade for tar spot. These things never go away. Always seems to get worse. I hope we don't have to spray corn 4 times for tar spot, but there are people spraying 3 passes of fungicide already, so you might not be wrong. Need to get Phil on to chat. Dude, it's not gonna happen. Thanks, I really like watching you. Couch in the garage, everything okay? Yeah, we had family party here yesterday, and this couch lives in the garage, and we just kind of had it set up because there's a TV over there because there was a football game on during our gathering yesterday that we wanted to be able to watch. So that's why there's a couch in the garage. I tell Anna I switched to 100% Pioneer seed this year from Stein.
Stein. Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. Is the seed warehouse in Michigan or Ohio? Ohio. Is Anna's turf in Iowa? Wait, is it there? Include Ben at Iowan Farmer. Oh, or southeastern Iowa or wherever he says he's from. So Ben, the Iowan Farmer, he's a YouTuber out there in Iowa. I don't know exactly where he's located though. We're gonna wrap this one up, guys. It's getting long, so if you got any last questions, get them
Never
in.
met him.
How does tile work get decided on each year? How do we decide what we're gonna tile?
Well, in the past, we've always
Thanks, Anna.
tiled some of the newer farms and they didn't have a good drainage system to it. And then the last few years, we're starting to retile stuff from 40 years ago that's not draining as well as it should, or we want to improve it.
Yep.
We had some connections that were holding us up in some wet spots, so.
Yeah, so if we buy a farm that doesn't have tile on it, that's always a high priority to go in and get it tiled right away and fix that. But we haven't bought much the last few years or stuff that hasn't needed as much tile, I guess. So like this field that we just finished here it's one of the very first ones that Dad tiled when he moved up here, and the standards back then to now are different, and some of those tile were not on grade anymore, and they were too wide a spacing, so we went
Well,
in
we
and
ran
split
into
them.
wet spots and we sort of lost the grade. Didn't have laser back then. To control
Grade
the-
stakes.
Used graded stakes, and we pulled a couple of the wet spots. We had to use a tractor or something to pull the ditching machine through the wet spot, and then
The farm equipment technology has come a long ways in the last 15 years. the tile installing technology has come a long ways in the last 45 years since the
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
when they were putting that in, so. I'm surprised, Nathan, you didn't make it over to the Farm Progress Show. Yeah, well, my field day was on Tuesday, and that was the day it started, and I had kind of considered going out, but I think I'm making a trip out to Iowa in a couple of weeks, so I really was just not that interested. And I'm going to do my best to make it down to Farm Science Review down in Ohio here in a few weeks, too. So that's my farm show that I try and go to. Has corn rootworm been an issue in your area here in central Iowa? We've seen a big explosion again this year, seeing a lot of second-year diapause this year. Not really. So there is some rootworm beetle around. I've seen some. I saw one looking at fields the other day on Friday. But I put that yellow sticky trap out in my bean field next to the corn in my plot a week and a half ago. And when I looked at it on Tuesday, there was not a single corn rootworm beetle on it. So we have it, but it's not a huge problem here. It's not, we do not use any in-furrow insecticide. A few people around do. We do not. And rootworm corn is, if it comes in the variety that I want, yeah, I might buy it. If that variety comes in an above ground only protection and is $50 a bag cheaper, I'm probably going to buy that one and not have the rootworm trait, but it just depends. Predictions on OSU and MSU. Well, Ohio State should be okay. Generally, the years when people count them out is when they tend to do the best, and I think they'll be okay. Michigan State, they got some work to do. We'll see. The Big Ten East is pretty difficult, so at best, Michigan State ends up with 3 losses, and yeah, who knows. Go enjoy your family time. Thanks for sharing. Yep, thanks. Okay, go Broncos. Broncos, West Michigan or Denver? Mark, what corn yields did you have when you moved up here, and what was the biggest thing to improve those yields?
Usually if we had 120 or 125, we were happy. I think in 82, we had some 145, and we thought we were winning the world with it. So,
I remember 140 being the benchmark when I was a kid for a long time. It
Yeah,
seemed
it's
like if
moved up a lot.
we had 140 bushel corn or more, we were really happy. And now, I mean, that I would tell you for planning purposes, we usually kind of use 180. But if we have 180 bushel corn, I'm pretty disappointed. That's not really good enough anymore.
yeah, drainage has helped out mostly.
Yeah, drainage, genetics, practices, fertility, all of the above. Thanks for sharing family time. Thanks. How are the flowers doing? How's your flowers?
They've had a tough roll of it. The dry weather hurt them. And then the county came in and sprayed the ditch bank and sprayed some of them, and then they ran them over when they were spraying.
Yeah.
And then the deer ate some, and a couple patches, the weeds came in real thick. And then the neighbor was mowing the driveway, and he mowed a patch off. But I still have some that are still flowering.
I think I told you guys about that. One government agency told us to spray the stuff and plant wildflowers. Another government agency came in and sprayed them off and killed them.
I reported that I got them planted and turned in the bills and everything, and I says, "We can come out and check?" And he says, "No, we're not coming out to check."
Did you get enough sweet corn this year to freeze? Always
Yeah.
like seeing your mom in the kitchen. Yeah, we did that this morning. We made 93 quart-sized bags of sweet corn. We got plenty. Glad to see you and your dad survived last night.
What was last night?
I don't know.
Football?
Yeah. Did you hear about the being turned at sign during the Michigan game? The announcers covered up part of the sign behind them. I did not. I didn't watch any of the Michigan game. Hi from Nigeria. Thanks for sharing. Oh, Denver Broncos. See, you got to clarify these things. West Michigan, they're the Broncos too around here. So, all right, guys. Thank you for all your questions, for watching, for participating. I appreciate it. And we will see you again on probably not tomorrow. I'm not going to make a video tomorrow, but I will make one on Tuesday. It'll come out Wednesday morning. And we're going to get the disc in the shop this week. That's the plan. Start doing the reblading project on the disc. So, should be good video and entertaining and fun and all that good stuff. And I think Dad's gonna go work on the barn down in Berkey.
We got one part of a day to finish up tiling up here, and then I gotta get that to Berkey to work on the barn and get ready to tile down there.
Yep. So that's the plan for the week. I've got to keep doing seed business stuff because I got 2 weeks before major deadline there. And We've got some other events coming up, not this next week, but the following week, and then farm science review and all kinds of stuff going on. So it's going to be busy. The videos are going to start picking up, especially once we get to harvest in about 3 weeks. So thanks everybody. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you later.